It is Tuesday night, and we are live for the County Road Custom Late Model Challenger Series tonight. It's round number 7, the Toyota Volkswagen Wooster 125 from the South Boston Speedway. I am Jeff By Jr., joined by Bill Tomer in the broadcast booth. And Bill, there was supposed to be a lot of racing going on, but we might be the only show in town because guess what? iRacing isn't affected by rain, is it?
No, it's not. Not yet, anyway. I mean, they're working on it, but we don't know if that'll ever affect the short track community because it wouldn't make much sense, would it, to get actually rain out your races? But yeah, right now, unfortunately, North Wilkesboro rained out for the evening, but our show is not. So we're about to go racing for 125 laps in South Boston.
38 drivers on hand, going to go for 26 spots in tonight's feature event. So the qualifying coming up, but still a couple minutes left to practice. Last week's winner, Bladen Edwards, leads the way in practice, 15.084 over Reagan Parent, a 15.120. Blake Throneberg in the top 3, Ricky Howell 4th, Mason Johnson in the top 5, and we're getting set about 1 minute until we head into qualifying.
Jeff, tonight I'm hanging out in the Braxton DeWeese fan club.
Oh, there we go.
Cool. Over on YouTube. Those guys are there every night, so I'm going to go. I said last week there's so many of them over there, and they talked about it in the Facebook chat, so I decided this week I'm going to go hang out. Right now I'm alone, so hopefully they tune in soon.
Absolutely. Zach Onan already in the house, trying for the SPM boys. I think Zach probably one of those guys who's planning on watching North Wilkesboro.
I think we heard from him today that people were hoping that he would be giving us race updates from what they call the people.
Yeah.
Didn't have it. I didn't realize it was on Flow, or it was going to be on Flow, and unfortunately, rain and hail at North Wilkesboro tonight. I saw the clouds; they looked menacing, and obviously not going to be racing this evening.
Well, practice is coming to a close, so Bladen Edwards fastest overall as we head into Wisconsin Wings and Walleyes qualifying. $5. 5 bonus points on the line for quick time tonight. Top 5 drivers in qualifying will have bonus points, but then also an invert. So definitely you want to get those bonus points because you want to chase that championship, but at the same time, it's going to move you back a few rows.
Not much of an invert though tonight, Chad. But we won't say it for the guys that are watching. If they didn't check, we're not gonna let them know. But this one's a smaller one tonight.
I just noticed that. I looked at it. I'm like, I didn't know they went that small. It's usually much higher than that.
Yeah, it goes well. I'm not even gonna say. We're gonna leave it.
Bill Tomer and Jeff By Jr. fan club in the house. His cars are on the racetrack. Blake Throneberg, top of the board, 15.164 so far for Blake. Ricky Howell went P2 on his opening lap. AJ Rogers, P3. Not going to improve on his second lap. Now he gets bumped by Cody Bohm. Bladen Edwards to third now, 15.185. There was a little bit more left in the tank. Bladen had a 0 in practice. So maybe the second lap he might hit a 0. Not going to do it. Slows down. So quick qualifier last week, going to come up third so far. Hunter Harriet to 4th on the board. Remember, if you're hanging out with us on Facebook, like and share the stream. Let us know who you're cheering for tonight. Let us know that you're there. Blake Throneberg still leads the way in qualifying. Ricky Howell, Mason Johnson. Now Reagan Parent to second by 1,000th of a second, 15.165 to Throneberg's 164. And Bill, I told Reagan if he goes quick time, he'd get a little interview during the B main. He missed it by a cow.
Oh, he's gonna be disappointed.
Still about 1 minute left as Kieran Church on the racetrack went 15.207 on his first lap. Good enough to put him in the top 10. Remember, top 18 going to move on straight to the A main. The rest will have to race their way in from B main action later on tonight. Mark Keatman on the racetrack, winner this season.
Did we get a pronunciation from Mark? Is it Keatman or is it Keatman?
I don't know.
I'm gonna keep calling him Keateman then.
I've been saying Keatman. He hasn't corrected me. So 15.207, same lap as Church ran. And that's it. That is qualifying. So Blake Throneberg going to pick up his first Wisconsin Wings and Walleyes Quick Time Award. $5 in the books for him. And then we are going to head into B main action. Bill, it is going to
Oh
be a
my
single
goodness.
main. It is a big one.
Oh my goodness. This one is. I almost wanted to use the term ginormous, Jeff. That's not a real word.
This is basically an A main. Like, there's so many leagues out there that are looking at this B main and going, why can't we have that many cars for our regular races?
Truly, absolutely ridiculous. 20 car, 25 lap B main, taking
I guess
8.
Yeah, and I guess we should rush through the lineups here. So on the pole, the 38 and Travis Roma. On the outside of him, the 3 car, David Hill.
Dylan Schreiner's going to start P3 in the number 92, and to his outside of the number 31, that's Brad Carpenter.
Starting 6th will be the 40. Oh, actually, 5th. Starting 5th will be the 1 of Caleb Hill. Starting 6th will be the 43 of Josh Cole.
Casey Wiggins' first week in the series this season. He'll start 7th. Jason Lottridge in that 03 car, he's going to start 8th.
Starting 9th will be Mr. Thunderstruck himself, Josh Oswald, with what I think your points leader, the 18 of JP Bergeron, starting 10th.
Sam Wetstein is going to roll off P11 with the 39 car. Scott Negus starting P12.
13th will be the 09 of Elliott Carlson with the 12 of William Griffith alongside.
Michael Kirchner in the 156 is going to roll off P15. And Jason Kezar, I think it's his first week of the season. He's going to roll off P16.
Starting 17th will be the 5 of John Piet. On the outside of him, and the 05 will be Todd Cousins.
So 18 cars, Jeff Lip. 18 cars.
Yeah, Jake Grout, Dylan Canova not going to take part in this one. So 18 cars, 8 moving on. So Paul Hicks in the chat cheering for the 12 machine. Now, I think that might be William Griffith in this race, but Tony Quadros is also in the A main already. He's number 12, so Paul will have to let us know who he's cheering for. Jeff By Sr. in the house cheering for Dylan Schreiner. His pace car is off the racetrack, and it is Travis Roma taking us green flag racing for the B main. 8 car is going to move on tonight's Toyota Volkswagen Wooster 125.
Dylan Schreiner looking to the bottom here. He's going to look on Roma. Doesn't make the move. That checked up David Hill.
Caution already in the back of the field is, Josh Oswald is on his side.
Casey Wiggins, he was caught in the 18 car.
Looked like almost a little bit of a stack up, and Oswald got into the back of the 18 car.
Watch Josh Oswald here. This is up towards the transfer spots, Jeff.
Yeah, they were running right around that transfer area.
Oh, and Oswald gets shoved over the top of the 18 car and ends up rolling down the banking. Not a tremendous amount of damage on the 17, just a little bit on the left front, so he may be okay. Interesting looking look to that car. Looks like one of the older style Camaro bodies on that one. That's pretty neat.
Velocity Motorsports machine on the 17. So looks like we're going to be going to single file restart because they did not complete a lap.
That's going to string these boys out here for this B main, and check out the left-hand side. You can take a look, see where your favorite driver is running. That's going to jump up and down while we're under caution because caution laps do not count, and iRacing gets very confused on how to score that until we go back green flag racing.
Well, Paul Hicks said is Tony Quadros is who he was cheering for. So he is in the A main already, not going to take part in this B main. He's already locked in. Tap outs and touchdowns in the house. Donald Clark saying the best broadcasting crew in the business. Craig Tolley here saying don't mess this up. 38 of Roma. Travis Roma out front in the B main.
So Jeff, I will let you know that the Braxton DeWeese fan club has arrived.
Awesome. So they are in Facebook ready for Braxton DeWeese, who I believe is already in the A main.
They're over in YouTube.
Sorry, YouTube, yeah. Dylan Schreiner going for second as David Hill got up the racetrack on the restart. Travis Roma has checked out, putting some distance between him and the rest of the field. As now David Hill under fire from Brad Carpenter. JP Bergeron up into the 8th and final transfer spot as the caution waves again. We got Jason Keyser around on the front straightaway.
And he actually goes right to pit lane. Let's take a look and see. Oh, this might be an all by myself moment for the 27. And, oh, it looks like the 156 that Michael Kirchner was unable to avoid. He gets a little bit of damage on the front of that car. Unfortunately for Michael, not what you want to have happen as you're trying to make it into tonight's A main event.
All right, Bill, we're going to use our first quickie yellow since the rule changed, and they are single file because they did not complete a lap. It was single car spin, and guess what? We're going right back to racing.
That's what we do around here. We control things, Jeff.
Yeah, we try. Is Travis Roma going to take us back to green flag racing? Here we go. Pace car off the racetrack. Roma, Dylan Schreiner, David Hill, your running order. This one's scheduled to go 25 laps with strict time limit. We have already had a couple cautions. Jason Lottridge on the bottom of JP Bergeron on the outside of him. This is a battle for 7th. These guys are in the show right now, so don't want to get too aggressive here, but JP would like to have a little bit of a cushion, not be the last car in.
Trouble a little farther back. Jeff Elliott Carlson and Sam Wetstein just made contact off of turn 2. Carlson got down towards the inside wall. Wetstein hit the outside wall hard.
I see Todd Cousins.
Todd Cousins take it back, and Todd Cousins back to the pits. I think Todd Cousins broke the right front of that 05.
Well, JP Bergeron did clear Jason Lottridge, so move Lottridge back into the 8th and final transfer spot. It's Scott Negus, the next car that's not in the race, but William Griffith is really putting the pressure on him in the 12 machine. But this is allowing those top 8 to get away, so you need to settle this one quickly here.
Griffith going to try to get around Negus. They'll be side by side down the front straightaway. Griffith going to try to make that move. Negus going to fight back on the outside. You talked about it, Jeff. These guys are going to let those guys in front of them get away if they don't go back to single file racing. Now Negus will fall in behind.
Yeah, Negus leading the B main points. So, I mean, every spot does matter. Still got to race William Griffith as much as possible here because every spot and every point does matter for him. Is out front. It's all Travis Roma, Dylan Schreiner, David Hill, Brad Carpenter, Caleb Hill, Josh Cole, JP Bergeron, your top 7. Jason Lottridge is kind of falling behind the group right now in the 8th and final transfer spot. And then you got William Griffin and Scott Negus trying to catch him.
A little bit of a battle towards the rear of this B main, Jeff. Michael Kircher just went around Casey Wiggins. Josh Oswald is back there as well in the 17. They continue to battle. Unfortunately, they're way behind the transfer spot, battling for 12th.
Trouble in turn 3. The one car of Caleb Hill starting to spin. Josh Cole might have made some contact with them. It looked like Caleb saves it. We're going to see where the iRacing ends up scoring him. But the 9 got into the back of him there.
A little bit of a stack up as Hill had to check up for Brad Carpenter, who got into the corner. And Cole just came in, really not much. The 9 car, or just the American flag. I think it's a Florida flag car on this side of it, Jeff.
Yeah, I think it's one side's Florida, one side's U.S. So or he's got the U.S. flag on the roof, for sure.
Stack up happened there. He just gets, yeah, it's on the roof, but just gets in the back of the 01. Unfortunately, well, Barney, he's quick with the flag tonight. Last night he put it in his pocket. Tonight he threw that one pretty early, and it was on the apron.
Yeah, those guys had him gathered up. Unfortunately, that is going to put both of them to the rear of the field. We thought maybe Caleb would get a break and they would score him further up, but no, it is sent into the back as part of the caution. Josh Cole going to get the EOL, go to the rear of the field. So the 2 cars in the top 8 just took themselves out of it. And that is not good, especially late in a B main like this with Travis Roma out front, Dylan Schreiner second, David Hill, Brad Carpenter, JP Bergeron, Jason Lotridge. So I believe that's going to move William Griffith and Scott Negus into transfer spots, and Elliot Carlson will be the first guy out.
Jeff, we have approximately 14 Braxton DeWeese fans.
Wow.
Actually, over on YouTube. There might not all be Braxton DeWeese fans, but there's a bunch of them. I've been seeing their chats before, and I'm in there with them right now, and they're already excited. Go Braxton, number 8. Everybody's excited about short track racing here in South Boston.
Well, way to go, Braxton. Way to bring out the crowd. That's awesome.
That's right.
All right, pace car lights should be out, and we should get the message that it's going to be a double file restart. This will be the only double file restart of the B main, but they're going to get one chance at double file. New rules here at ITZR that just came into effect this week. Travis Roma, Dylan Schreiner, David Hill, Brad Carpenter, JP Bergeron, Jason Lotridge, William Griffin, Scott Negus, your 8 transfer cars, but there's some fast guys behind them like Elliot Carlson that want back in it. And David Hill did not get going on that restart, and that's going to stack up the whole inside row there. And the caution's going to wave.
Wow, I'm not sure what the caution's. Oh, Caleb Hill around in turn 1.
And that whole, like we said, that whole inside line checked up. And Elliot Carlson nowhere to go. Oswald got in the back of him, and then Caleb Hill just the accordion there.
Oh,
the end of that one.
And Oswald gets smashed. And then, unfortunately, that car kind of landed on Caleb Hill. Well, Caleb Hill got in the back of him. Good news is a lot of these cars don't look terribly damaged, Jeff. No car's smoking too badly. So this has been a rough and tumble.
Yeah, it's, 20 car B main. It has the potential to go that way. And a lot of these guys, like we say, this is our development series. And then you have a lot of guys in the B main that are, really new to iRacing, really new to sim racing in general. And they're just, they're trying to fill it out. And this is the place for them to learn here in this B main and try to get a little bit better racecraft. And they end up racing with some guys that are pretty darn good, like Travis Roma and JP Bergeron, your points leader in it. And so it's a good place for them to be, to have a couple of the fast guys in the field and race with them. Does it look like Michael? Yeah, his car's smoking.
Yeah, his car's seen better days. You can see the left front of that 156 towed out quite a bit. And that engine isn't running too well either, as it is blown up. It's still running, but it is not long for this world with all the smoke that's pouring out of that car. Gonna just try to get what he can out of it as he fogs for mosquitoes for us. We appreciate that. Not a fan of getting bit by mosquitoes.
So Roma gonna have a single file restart here as we're just about over the clock, I think, on the 12 minutes. We'll see how many laps we get out of this one on lap 12 of this B main. Travis Roma, Dylan Schreiner, Brad Carpenter, David Hill, your top 4. We'll keep an eye around that transfer position to see if any battles start to take shape. Pace car off the racetrack. Roma is green flag racing once again.
Sure did pull off, Jeff. So Travis Roma going to lead us down the back straightaway. We're going to have to watch Barney and see what he has in his hand.
JP Bergeron trying to make a move around Lotridge. Lotridge got up the racetrack. These guys well in a transfer spot, so no reason for Lotridge to battle too hard here. But he is going to fight back on the outside. Not going to make it easy on JP Bergeron.
They made contact off it too.
William Griffith behind him holds the 8th and final transfer spot, but he's got a hard charge on Elliot Carlson coming as those two just got together again.
These guys have to be careful. Do not want to knock yourself out of tonight's A-main event.
Again, JP Bergeron, your points leader, he has got a lot to lose right now. So he just needs to get into the feature event and make sure he gets a solid points night tonight, as he is starting to put a gap here on Jason Lotridge. He's got Scott Negus and William Griffith, and this is kind of holding up that 12 machine, and it's going to give Elliot Carlson a chance here late in this B main.
And Griffith's thinking, I got to go, fellas. Here comes the 09. He is closing on me for this final transfer. Going to do everything he possibly can to defend. He wants to race in tonight's A main.
Well, it looks like
he's getting racy, Jeff. He's looking to get all over that Negus car.
It looks like we might have got the checkered flag right there, and I think that's going to end it. William Griffith going to hold on as we got over the time limit. That one comes to an end.
That was it. Time limit. It's over. Finished 18 laps there. Travis Roma, your B main winner on the evening. And we're going to go to the warm-up session of tonight's event. 2 minutes for those guys that were just sitting after qualifying for them to get their cars back underneath them.
Well, your drivers moving on were Roma, Schreiner, Carpenter, Hill, Bergeron, Lottridge, Negus, and William Griffith. Their 26 starters will fill up the field for tonight. Elliot Carlson going to miss it by 1 spot. Casey Wiggins is out. Josh Cole, Josh Oswald, Caleb Hill, Michael Kirchner, Jason Keyser, Todd Cousins, Sam Weststein, John Piette also going to miss tonight's feature event. Bill, another solid night for Negus in the A or the B main. He makes it into the A, gets solid points, and hopefully going to maintain that B main points lead for him.
Absolutely. Well, the point, though, of the whole B main race, Jeff, for him is to get into the A main. So he's done that. I'm sure if you ask Scott, would you rather win the B main championship or would you rather just make the A mains? He probably just wants to make the A mains and not have all that stress. But
yeah.
For the 39 car, it is in the A main tonight, along with 25 other racers that are looking to win tonight's Toyota Volkswagen of Wooster 125 here in South Boston. Going to be a pretty exciting one, Jeff. We did see the top side come into play last night. We did talk to, I believe it was Brett Suggs, who's now currently waiting to race at North Wilkesboro tomorrow night. But we talked to him last night, and he said that basically you just have to wait for some rubber to lay down on that top side, and you can start moving up there, and it does make some hay. So we should see some guys do that tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. That top side really did come in last night and started to become a challenge for people to start passing on the bottom. And it made for some very interesting racing. Again, Alex McCollum came out victorious last night, but Cody Kelly was right there. He was all over him to the finish. Brett Suggs tried to save tires. It seemed like that might have been the play, but maybe just saved a little too much. I mean, it's such a timing game, isn't it? You save tires, but at the same time, if you let one of these fast guys get to the front, how do you get around them later?
Right. It's a matter of you have to save enough and then catch yellows at the proper time. A guy like Alex McCollum's so fast. You're just going to have to kind of get lucky, really, I think is what it comes down to, especially when he's got control of the lead. But, Jeff, warm-up is over. We're about to go racing. The grid about to hit the racetrack here. The Toyota Volkswagen of Wooster 125.
Absolutely. We got a little bit of scoring things to do, so we'll let the field gather up. So it looks like just about everybody started to grid here for the Toyota Volkswagen of Wooster. And Bill, I should mention, since we're in South Boston, that is Wooster of Ohio, not right. The Wooster in Massachusetts, which you would think South Boston, Massachusetts. No, not the same thing.
The good news is the guy that made the race logo, Jeff Pye Jr., he put that on the race logo. You can see it actually says of Wooster. Oh, no, did you put Ohio? I don't know if you put. Or,
no,
yeah,
it just says Wooster.
No. That's okay. We can say that. If you go to the links that are with the broadcast down there in the description, you can see the 2 pages, the Volkswagen of Wooster and the Toyota of Wooster. You can click right through and go check out some cars. I like to do that.
Well, here we go. Field is starting to roll for tonight's Toyota Volkswagen of Wooster 125 on the pole. The number 7 gets the invert, a 4 invert tonight. That'll be Mason Johnson. On the outside of him, he's actually going to the back of the field due to the TP3D penalty report, the 20 of Ricky Howell.
Starting in the 3rd position in the number 17, another car that will head to the back of the field. You can see him sitting on the speedway at the moment. That's the 17 of Reagan Perrin, and to his outside in the number 22 machine. Actually going to start in the front row. That's Blake Thronberg.
Starting 5th, last week's winner, the 72 of Bladen Edwards. On the outside of him, in the 81, it'll be Hunter Harriet.
Chad Miller's going to roll off P7 in the number 46 machine, and to his outside of the number 22 car. That's Kieran Church.
Starting 9th, the winner at Nashville, Mark Heatman in the 2 machine. On the outside of him, in the 71, it's Uncle Pete, Peter Fisher.
Cody Bohm's going to roll off P11 in the number 78, and to his outside of the number 85 machine. A new look for him this week. That's Lee Norton.
Another driver going to the rear, scheduled to start 13th, was the 12 of Tony Quadros. On the outside of him, the YouTube fan club driver, the 8 of Braxton DeWeese.
AJ Rogers going to roll off P15 in that familiar 17 car, and on his outside, first week with the series in the number 88 machine, that's Jacob Derrick.
Starting 17th, another driver returning to the series after an absence. The 57 of Chase Johnson on the outside of him. In the car number 2, it is JJ Chansey.
You just watch this man win the B main. He's going to start P19 in the number 38 machine. That is Travis Roma, and to his outside of the number 92 U.S. Air Force on the hood because he's in the Air Force, folks. That's Dylan Schreiner.
Starting 21st will be the 31 of Brad Carpenter on the outside of him. Another driver going to the rear, the 3 of David Hill.
Points leader John Philippe Bergeron going to start mired in the field in the 23rd position, and in 24th, that'll be the 03 of Jason Lottridge.
Your final starters tonight, 25th, the 39 car of Scott Negus, and the last driver to make it through the B main, the 12 of William Griffith. Well, Bill, here we go. We got 26 strong. Took us 30, I believe 37, 38 drivers that were here. 20 car B main. We got 26 on the racetrack. It is a stout field. I'm looking through this like top 10, top 15 drivers. I'm like, man, there's so many guys here I could pick to win this one.
There's so many guys here I can't outrun, Jeff. That's what's amazing about the Challenger Series. It is so fantastic. Yeah. This group of drivers is just very, very good.
I remember when there was a point where it was the Challenger Series, we would say it's the Development Series, and we meant it was the Development Series. I mean, you look at this field and you're like, these guys are developed. I mean, they're pretty darn fast.
They are.
Very few of them have anything left to learn at this point.
Pace truck going to take an extra couple laps because tonight it is piloted by Richard Petty. You'll remember him at Darlington. And that's the black flag for the pace truck, I believe. So I think this time will be the last time for the pace truck to go around. Mason Johnson going to lead us with Blake Thronberg on the outside. This one's going to get exciting. I just wonder how quickly it will get exciting, Jeff. How long do you think it is where these guys will shake it out, or are they just going to go forward?
You know, I think some of these guys are going to want track position. I don't see Mason Johnson wanting to give up the lead, so I think he's going to battle. I think you're going to see some other guys start to sink back into the field. We get set to go racing for the Toyota Volkswagen Wooster 125 here at South Boston. Mason Johnson on the loud pedal. Blade Never's going to try to follow into second, but Thronberg on the outside maybe going to fight back here. He got a little loose, though. He's getting close there to the back rear quarter panel of the 72.
Really tight racing in your top 5. Those guys really good duking it out early. Hunter Harriet and Chad Miller, they almost made contact there through turns 3 and 4. They might have actually bumped each other just a little bit. Now they're going to shake it out down the back straightaway. Here comes Mark Keatum to the inside. He's looking to go by Keenan Church, and he does going into turn 3.
Field getting single file in the top 10 as Peter Fisher gets in the wall down the front straightaway. He's going to save it. That is going to stack everybody up, though, as the 88 had to make an evasive mover. Lee Norton as well behind the 71 had to check up. Now they'll get single file. The best race on the racetrack is between the 8 of Braxton DeWeese and Travis Roma. It's a battle for 14th as Travis Roma is passing cars pretty quickly here on the outside line.
Yeah, Travis Roma making moves on the outside. We talked about it, Jeff, the outside able to make moves and actually do things here at South Boston. It's just whether or not the bottom gets stacked up just a little bit. Right now, Braxton DeWeese able to go by. Now here comes Dylan Schreiner. He finished second in the B main. He's going to go by your B main winner, Travis Roma.
Well, it's Mason Johnson out front, and as I said, he's setting a pretty torrid pace, much faster than we saw last night. The guys started off in about 15.5s. Right now, Mason Johnson, he ran a 15.3 that lap. It was a 15.2 the lap before. So, you know, he does have some coaching from Cody Kelly that ran the race last night. Cody might be telling him, hey, you got a little bit more you can use than we used on Monday night.
That's right. Cody Kelly on the box for Mason Johnson in that 7 car. Your leader right now at South Boston. So I think you're exactly right, Jeff. I think he's telling him this is the lap you need to run. That experience of running last night in the same setup and same weather conditions are really paying dividends right now for the 7 car.
Well, you're green flag racing. You're on lap 7. Looks like Scott Negus and Brad Carpenter getting racy back in the rear of the field. That's a battle for 19th as Carpenter up the racetrack. That's going to allow Lottridge to get through. Here comes William Griffith. He says, I'm going to take advantage of this as well. So Carpenter kind of stuck up there on the top side.
Yeah, Carpenter trying to find a way down. Can't do so. Here comes Tony Quadros in the 12. He's going to go by as well. Now Brad Carpenter will have an opportunity. He slid all the way back to 23rd spot. A couple guys right behind them are a little bit farther back. Those are some guys that are saving tires way out back there.
Yeah, I see some of the guys that had penalties to start this race have just hung back in the field. Reagan Parent, David Hill, Ricky Howell, they are in no hurry. They're just going to save tires, hope for a caution here. But right now, these guys clean and green to start this race, and that's what we love to see. Bill Trevor Edwards in the Facebook chat said, I say 1 week Bill and Jeff race and let me and Cole Cabry announce. And I say bet.
We'd have to school them kids, wouldn't we? No, I'm kidding. It's been way too long, Jeff. I don't know if the rust even comes off at this point.
Yeah. Well, Mason Johnson has led every lap of this one. Bladen Edwards in tow with Blake Thronberg, Chad Miller, and Hunter Harriet, your top 5. Mark Keatman lurking in 6th. It's a gap back to Kieran Church, who runs 7th with Cody Bohm in the 8th spot. Chase and Johnson is running 9th with AJ Rogers in the top 10. Peter Fisher 11th. Back to Lee Norton in 12th. Jacob Derrick 13th. JJ Chansey 14th. Braxton DeWeese runs in the 15th spot. Cars on the move early. Chase Johnson started 17th. He is up to 9th. And then looking, Dylan Schreiner started 20th, up to 16th. JP Bergeron started 23rd. He is up to 17th. Remember, $5 goes to the Adobe Hard Charger Award winner. Driver gains the most positions from their starting spot tonight.
Hunter Harriet just made a move on Chad Miller. You saw Mark Keatman give Chad Miller a bit of a bump through 3 and 4. Hunter Harriet moves up to the 4th spot. Chad Miller running in 5th, and Mark Keatman, he wants that spot, but he lost a little bit of ground after he bumped Chad Miller, gave him a little bit of gave him a break and let him catch that car, and now he slid back just a little bit.
Well, Paul Hicks was mentioning that Tony Quadros has been moving up, and he is up to the 22nd spot. Remember, he had a penalty for the TP3D penalty report, had to start in the rear of the field. Now, Bill, some of these drivers in the back are starting to get a little aggressive because Mason Johnson is coming to the back of the field, and Ricky Howell is now starting to pick up the pace, and he is looking at David Hill, and he's trying to get around them, and he had to check up to not make contact with the 3 last time. But these guys at the end of the field have realized the leader is on his way, and they need to get going.
Chase Johnson just made a move on Cody Bohm. That was a pass for the 8th position. So we take a look at those cars you're talking about, Jeff. Guys that are at the back of the field, you're going to see the leader pop into the screen here. It's Reagan Parent, David Hill, and Ricky Howell.
Yeah, I think Ricky's running 26. He probably looks in the mirror and goes, "Oh, there shouldn't be cars behind me."
Yeah.
And that means you're in trouble.
See if we get a shot just there, right in the top right-hand corner of the screen. You can see the leader closing in on these cars that are obviously saving tires, but that has kind of gone out the window as the leader is starting to put pressure. I think these guys were betting on an early caution. It didn't come, and now they've got to get a move on as Mason Johnson's starting to run them down. Yeah,
and Mason Johnson has got a lot of pressure from Bladen Edwards as well, and Bladen starting to turn up the heat. The pace has slowed down. They're back into the 15.6s, 15.5s, but I'm starting to see the 7. He's keeping that car on the yellow line. Bladen's starting to drive it down onto the apron, trying to get that car to rotate a little bit. And he's finding a little bit of speed, but that car is also on edge. You can see him get real sideways there. Blake Thronberg in the 3rd spot with Hunter Harriet running 4th. Mark Keatman has gotten around Chad Miller for the 5th spot. Mason Johnson starting to put some distance here on Bladen the last couple laps. It's about half a second lead now over the 72 machine. So Johnson maybe saw Bladen starting to put the pressure on him and just decided to maybe just run some quick laps and get some breathing room here.
Battle here on the racetrack. Really tight racing between this group of cars. Lee Norton, Peter Fisher, Jacob Derrick, JJ Chansey's in this one as well. And there's Braxton DeWeese up on the outside. Oh, and they see Peter Fisher get in the wall again. Braxton DeWeese going to have to make an evasive maneuvers 3 wide through turns 3 and 4. This is not what you want to do. One of these guys going to have to back out. It's going to be Peter Fisher who drops him backwards. Dylan Schreiner and Braxton DeWeese, they're going to continue to be side by side as they make contact through turns 1 and 2. And another 3 wide situation as JP Bergeron goes to the bottom. Holy cow, these guys are going nuts right now.
Well, Braxton DeWeese and Dylan Schreiner are having a dual run. They got hooked together. And
wait, that's a great job by Jacob
Mason
Derrick.
Johnson in the fence coming down the front straightaway. Bladen Edwards tried to get there, and Mason threw a chop into turn 1 and just said, "No, I made 1-1, left the bottom wide open."
Lap 31, they feel like they've run forever, Jeff, and it's time to go. We gotta go. We got 90 laps left.
Yeah, fantastic racing right now as we are still green flag racing.
Peter Fisher spun around in the bottom of turns 1 and 2, Jeff. He's going to take it to pit lane on the back straightaway, and I think Peter going to be done for the evening.
Yeah, Pete's car has been just wild since the drop of the green, it seems like. It's Bladen Edwards again, tried to make a move to the apron, got big time sideways. Throneberg going to try to take advantage once again. Peaked underneath the 72 down the back straightaway, just couldn't get there. And now he's got so much pressure from Hunter Harriet as Mason Johnson again almost got the wall. Hunter Harriet sideways as well. These guys are all just pushing for everything they got right now.
Yeah, these guys are all over each other right now in the top four. Mark Keedeman just watching on in the number 2. A little bit farther back, John Fleet Bergeron still making his way forward. Actually, he had an issue, Jeff. He had made his way up to 14th, and then something happened. He slipped back. He fell back to 16th. Now makes the pass on Lee Norton. He'll move back up to 15th.
I'm watching Mason Johnson, and that car is starting to get wicked loose off the corner, and I got to wonder, can the tires even hold up at this point? I mean, you're only 36 laps in as here comes Bladen Edwards, going to take a peek underneath the 7, and he is there. He's to the left rear top tire, and now Mason Johnson's going to either have to fight on the outside or just concede the lead here.
Well, remember, Cody Kelly, who's on the box, and he's up against the wall again in the 7 car. Mason Johnson, that car is loose right now. You can see all these cars slipping and sliding through the corners. You talked about it, Jeff, these tires. Last night we had a bunch of cautions, and so far, the Late Model Challenger Series, again showing up the Late Model Shootout Series about how to race and actually get around this racetrack. And these guys are going to be putting a whole lot more pressure on their tires as we've gone green from the initial start.
Well, and I could say the track temps are high, and that's because our setup builder, Daniel Pope, he's kind of an evil man. He likes to see these guys wheel these things. And he brought the heat today at South Boston. And look at Mason Johnson is struggling now on the top side. You get that right rear tire heated up, and that's what happens. It is starting to go away on him as Bladen Edwards, your leader, Blake Throneberg trying to go for second. But Mason Johnson, he's already got issues with the right rear tire.
He's got to be smart on the throttle. Do not try to get too much out of it, Mason Johnson. And I've heard, last night we heard from some of the drivers, Jeff, they said that it was getting a little bit loose entering the corner. Trevor Edwards was one of those drivers that said he was having a little bit of a snappy loose situation as Keedeman and Harriet make contact. Keedeman went to the apron to try to pass Harriet that time. Harriet kind of slammed the door, and they made contact through 3 and 4. Both drivers able to save it.
What a save from both of them as they got together off turn 4. Going to cost them some time, but Keatman going to take that spot. That's the 4th position. Hunter Harriet back to 5th.
Good job by both these drivers, especially Hunter Harriet. It's a lot of race left in this event. 80 laps remaining, over 80 laps remaining. You don't need to force it with Keedeman, who went up and gave you a little tap. Just get back on the gas and get back into position and race the rest of this race.
Well, Bladen Edwards has caught the first lap car. That's David Hill, who runs in the 24th position. As Peter Fisher is out of this race. Jacob Derrick went a lap down with a spin earlier. So this will be the first car that Bladen Edwards puts a lap down as Hill got way up the racetrack. Scared me for a minute that he was going to get the wall, but he is just getting out of the way.
I think he did catch a little bit of the wall as they went off at turn 4, but he is going to get out of the way. And now Mason Johnson didn't give him any room, just slammed into him as they went off at turn 2.
Well, Mason's got a handful there, and so maybe that car's wandering a bit down the straightaways as Blake Throneberg going to slip by. So next car up, and Bladen Edwards is moving up the racetrack. I think that car is starting to go away too, and he's chasing it up the racetrack just to keep that thing straight. Look at, he's now second groove in it.
Makes you wonder, Jeff. It makes you wonder what's going to happen with these cars as we're already working lap 46 in this race.
It's still so early to be this loose.
And this racy. They're getting after it.
It makes me wonder if these guys just haven't burned up the tires as the first caution is going to wave lap 47. Dylan Schreiner, Travis Roma.
Cars in the air. Dylan Schreiner on the top of Jason Lottridge's car. They're bouncing off of each other, trying to spin around. The leaders have to park. Dylan Schreiner's going to go a lap down here. He'll get that lap back because he's just going to wait for the field to go by. But we're going to figure out what happened to these drivers.
47-lap green flag run. What a run by these Challenger Series drivers. That was awesome.
And I think they were catching their breath. What do you think?
Yeah, and you could see it. The cars were starting to get real loose. They need this little break here to get sorted out.
The Braxton DeWeese fan club is going to be upset, Jeff. He was caught in that one as well. So it looks like JJ Chansey in the 2 tries to get down behind Dylan Schreiner, and there's really not room, and he just runs into the back of the 92 car.
So, yeah, as you said, JJ looked like he was going to try to do the over-under there.
See, Roma Really couldn't see much. He gets into DeWeese. DeWeese spins around and a bunch of cars pile in, including Lottridge. Those guys, the wrecks already happened. Dylan Schreiner and Travis Roma are sitting there. Some cars are sliding through. William Griffith's involved. Tony Quadros, good job getting on the brakes as he stops. So a lot going on there. Some cars damaged. We'll have to check some of those guys.
Well, first caution here, and we are under brake, and I can see a lot of these guys are trying to get down to the cool part of the racetrack, Bill, and try to cool those tires off. Bladen Edwards, one of them. He's taking the whole field down to like the apron where nobody's been running, trying to get as much cooling on those tires as they possibly can. JJ Chansey did go to the rear of the field due to an EOL penalty there.
Taking a look at some of those cars that were in that wreck. Looking at Braxton DeWeese's car, Lee Norton's car, Jason Lottridge, some damage on those machines. So we can take a look at Dylan Schreiner. Schreiner's in the pits in the 92. He's got a lot of damage on the 92 car.
Well, we are going to get set to go back to green flag racing. The field is doubled up. Bladen Edwards, Mason Johnson, Blake Throneberg, Mark Keatman, your top 4 drivers here on this lap 52 restart. We are back to green flag. Bladen Edwards out front. Throneberg and Mason Johnson battle for second. Keatman going to try to get to the bottom of Hunter Harriet's there. Going to give him a little bit of a tap, move the 2-car back up the racetrack. Remember, these two got into it just a little bit ago, so maybe some not so kind feelings between these two right now.
Yeah, they probably aren't liking how they're racing each other right now, and there it's going to be tight racing down the back straightaway. Almost more contact between those two drivers. Keatman and Hunter Harriet.
Throneberg was able to clear the 7 of Mason Johnson, so back behind them, it's completely double file as Chad Miller got sideways there as the 22 of Kiernan Church on the outside trying to find a way to the bottom. And it looks like Kiernan going to stick to the outside, and he is rolling the top. Mason Johnson back underneath Throneberg for second. The 22 got up the racetrack.
They're almost making contact through turns 1 and 2, man. Wow. I cannot believe it. We go yellow.
The 57 of Chase Johnson went around, and then a couple other cars piled in. The 2 of JJ Chansey. Like David Hill was involved there in the back of the field.
Oh, and I think Chase Johnson might have got a shot from Jean-Philippe Bergeron, possibly. Nobody hit Chase Johnson. They hit each other trying to.
He got together with AJ Rogers.
AJ Rogers
down the front straightaway. The 17. It's almost like the car just tank slapped a little bit there.
Yeah, a little bit of a tank slapper from AJ Rogers. They came off at turn number 4. Let's see if we can get a little bit better view of that.
And to AJ's credit, I mean, he kept it on his side of the white line there. The 57 was on the white line. Just two guys a little out of shape and coming together mid straightaway.
And JJ Chansey, as the car was stopped on the high side, Brad Carpenter slowed down to avoid, and JJ just piled in and hit the 31. That collected Hill. David Hill is collected as well in the 3. You called that perfectly, Jeff. That was well done.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
We're going to give you a little bit of a view from the Stinger Motorsports chopper cam here, so we can get a little bit of a nice view of this one. Oh, yeah. Perfectly. Perfect. AJ Rogers with just a little bit of a tank slapper. Got that 57 sideways. And you can see the pile in there. Thanks to Stinger Motorsports for that chopper cam shot.
So this is going to set us up for a single file restart because they did not complete 5 laps. So Bladen Edwards out front, of Blake Throneberg, Mason Johnson, Hunter Harriet, Mark Keatman, your top 5. Kieran Church, Chad Miller, Cody Boehm, AJ Rogers, and JP Bergeron in the top 10. Now JP has come from 23rd to 10th, so early runner for the Adobe Mountain Speedway Hard Charger. Braxton DeWeese runs 11th, followed by Lee Norton, William Griffith, Scott Negus, and Tony Quadros in your top 15. Jason Lottridge runs 16th with Reagan Parent, Ricky Howell, Travis Roma, Brad Carpenter, your top 20. Chase Johnson, the last car on the lead lap, in 21st. David Hill runs 22nd, 1 lap down. Jacob Derrick still out on the racetrack, and it looks like JJ Chansey might have called it a night because he is on pit road. It's along with Dylan Schreiner, who is now out of this race in the 25th position. Brandon Elvis here said good miss to Braxton DeWeese as the pace car rolls off the racetrack. Bladen Edwards single file restart, but Thronberg got hit, and that's going to stack up the whole field. Kieran Church, I think, just got turned around. Negus is involved. Trouble on the single file restart.
They just stacked. Mason Johnson, it's his right to go, and he went really late, and the guys behind him decided to drive into the cars that were in front of them.
Yeah, Mason got into the back of Thronberg, and it just stacked everyone up.
You can see it. Mason Johnson hits Thronberg. Johnson has to back off of him, and it's just a smash fest from that point forward. There's nothing. I mean, you can't see through the car in front of you, so if he goes, and the anticipation is they're going to go, and then they don't. But you just can't go until the car in front of you goes. So it's been a long time, Jeff. I don't remember. Feel like you go when you see the car in front of you go. I don't know. When I say it like that, it sounds really obvious. We're going to take a look at Kieran Church here. Kieran Church is the one that really got it. You can see the cars start to stack up. He gets on the brakes. Chad Miller, big time in the back of Kieran Church, and he gets spun. There's Negus gets spun as well. Slides through your screen. David Hill has to stop, and there's a couple other cars that had to stop. I think Negus has probably stopped here. Brad Carpenter stops. Jacob Derrick in the 88 does not, and piles in the back of the 31. So Negus going to try to spin his car back around. But that's what happens. Unfortunately, we don't love to see when a car goes late because that tends to happen.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's guys trying to time it, and unfortunately, again, just kind of a stack up there.
Completely Bladen's right to start the field when he wants to. He is in control of the start. And obviously it is his advantage to go when he wants to. In that situation, when you do hold the field, everybody thinks you're going to go a little bit earlier than that, and when you don't, I think he's waited right to the last line, Jeff, is that Brett Suggs Racing and Marketing restart zone. Don't forget Brett Suggs Racing and Marketing. Check him out on Facebook because he is in North Wilkesboro right now, folks. Going to be racing in the Pro Late Model portion of the Cars Tour event tomorrow night. Race control doing some scoring work, figuring out which guys got caught a lap down. You see Scott Negus getting his lap back.
So what we ask for these guys is when they're involved in incidents like that, they just stay still till it's clear to turn around. And but multiple drivers lost laps there. Some of them two. Scott Negus lost 2 laps, so we had to get him back around, back on the lead lap since he had to wait for the field to go by before he could turn around. And I think we got everybody back where they're supposed to be. So Bladen Edwards should be seeing the pace car head off the racetrack right now. And I take that back. You can go around. Oh, there it is. So pace car off the racetrack for Bladen Edwards. Single file restart this time. We are green flag racing on lap 68. The single file restart, a big break to some of these guys that towards the rear of the field that were saving tires now, and now they're not going to have to deal with the field being double file for a long time. If they've got tires left, they can start passing cars right away.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when the cars are all packed up around you, right? You really can't move.
You just get stuck in traffic. It's like being on the freeway and stop and go traffic. There's nowhere to go.
Saw Cody Bohm took a peek underneath Chad Miller as they went down into turn number 3. Chad Miller, a bunch of damage on the front end of that 46. That car's probably slowed down just a little bit as he was caught. And ended up, that was the car that ran into Kieran Church and spun him. So you can see how beat up that car is. Cody Bohm going to look to the inside. They'll be side by side in 1 and 2.
Yeah, great battle here between these two. As the 78 and the 46 got a hook together. JP Bergeron again going to try to take advantage. Seems like every time somebody's in front of JP, they have issues, and he is just flying through the field, keeping the nose clean.
We're not saying that's JP's fault, but he's probably, been a little bit nervous a couple times.
Yeah, absolutely. Points leader just needs a good, solid point stay here to keep him in that top 8 in the running. He's got a little damage on the right side. It looks like he's been involved in something, but and the 46 gets into DeWeese. DeWeese with a huge save, still saving it through 1 and 2.
Great save by Braxton DeWeese. They went into turn number 1. I thought for sure he was getting the infield wall, but he did not. So he's going to continue to battle Chad Miller as he looks back underneath him coming off of turn 4. This is where they made contact last time. Braxton gives him a big berth as they come down the front straightaway. Tighter through 1 and 2, and now Braxton going to try to pull ahead as obviously Chad Miller a little bit hindered by that damage on the front of that 46 car.
Yeah, Braxton was up on the wheel there, driving that thing down the front straightaway, sideways into turn 1. Got it saved. He gets the spot, move him up to 9th. Blake Thronberg going for the lead in turn 3. Gets underneath the 72 of Bladen Edwards. They are both sideways through the middle 3 and 4. Contact down the front straightaway for the race lead.
Bladen Edwards sliding through turns 1 and 2. Almost makes contact with Thronberg. Thronberg on the bottom. He'll start to inch ahead as they enter turns 3 and 4. Here comes Mason Johnson. Edwards able to get back. And now he's going to try the crossover. That's not going to work. Look at Bladen Edwards' car sliding. Now Mason Johnson's going to get in the back, and all those cars are going to spin.
Keatman involved Hunter Harriet, Mason Johnson. It looked like it started with the 72 getting sideways, and Mason Johnson had to check up, but there was no time to react to the guys behind him.
Oh, heartbreak for those guys running up front. As hard as they've been driving, it's going to be a hard task to make your way back through the field. We'll take a look at that again on instant replay. Not quite instant, but close, right, Jeff?
The 81 got underneath the 7. He was trying to make a pass and was down on the apron. And when the 72 just stops mid-corner because he's sliding, and Mason's just got nowhere to go.
You can see it there. Right as they get down. 72, we're going to get to Bladen Edwards here. As he was kind of the holy cow moment as he tried to get underneath Thronberg. I think he had to stab the brakes, Jeff, which caused that 72 to slide through the corner. And then Mason Johnson really tried to go underneath him. There was no room, but Hunter Harriet was there as well. I don't know if that wasn't going to be a wreck no matter what happened. If Mason doesn't hit him, if he does, I mean, everybody's just right on top of each other there.
I mean, that's hard racing in the top 5 there. And just there was just no room for a mistake to happen, and that's what happened. Bladen Edwards, he just slid that car into turn 1. That was that loose on entry you were talking about, Bill, and I mean he slid that car through the entire beginning of that corner, and then mid corner he just couldn't get on the throttle.
Yeah, it was just in a 4-wheel drift. So if he got on the throttle, that car's either going to get really wicked sideways again, or it's going to come around on him. Unfortunately, Mason Johnson, he had the momentum through the center of the corner. Hunter Harriet was there as well, and Keateman was. As soon as Mason Johnson made contact with Bladen Edwards, that checked him up. That's when Hunter Harriet hit him, and Keateman hit Harriet. So I really don't think once Bladen Edwards had those issues going through turns 1 and 2, I don't think there was any surviving that. I think at any moment one of those cars was going to make contact with the other, and we're going to see some cars spin. Unfortunately, it was the cars that were running 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Justin Brooks in the house, he was giving his take on it. He said kind of screwed Mason and Hunter there, but I mean that's part of racing. Sometimes it's just you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and unfortunately those two battling hard for their own race right there for 3rd, and just things started to go wrong in front of them. Is the field going to get double filed up here? Blake Thronberg, your new leader. Bladen Edwards 2nd. Cody Bohm, JP Bergeron now 3rd and 4th. These guys have come from 11th and 23rd. So, I mean, they are coming from the back here. AJ Rogers started 15th. Braxton DeWeese 14th. They are 5th and 6th. So, we are seeing cars move forward now, Bill. It's time for the comers and goers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. When you said 3rd and 4th, I said, really? In my head, but yeah, I didn't say it out loud. But here they go. Green flag racing. Blake Thronberg going to get a really good start. Bladen Edwards on the top side. Edwards going to get a nice run off the top side. He's going to make the move back down alongside Thronberg down the back straightaway. Is there a possibility that Bladen Edwards learned something right there as he made a great run down the back straightaway?
Well, I saw Bladen Edwards earlier in that run. He moved up to the top side, and he looked like he was a little bit more comfortable on the top side, the way that car has been sliding around. And I think he's now pot committed up there. And now, as I say that, he moves to the bottom. But I think that car is better on the top side of the racetrack.
I think you got a bit of a ha-ha, fooled you, is what Bladen Edwards just said. But here, oh, we got a Scott Negus car sitting on the back straightaway. Everybody's going to miss the 39. He's going to let the whole field go. Trying to figure out what happened in Negus coming off of turn 2.
It looked like Keatman and Chase Johnson were getting together in front of him, and then he just got tapped by the 7 of Mason Johnson.
Let's see what's going on with Keatman here. Oh, that's confusing.
Not sure if the two had anything to do with one another, really.
I don't think they did. I think Johnson saw Quadros, started to move up the track a little bit because Quadros was checking up. And then Mason Johnson just gets in the back of the 39. That's probably because the 39 was checking up. Or not. I don't know.
I just don't see the pace slowing down at all for the 39.
I don't either. I feel like the 7 just gets into him. I'm just watching the replay here, and it just looks like the 7.
And we saw what just happened with the 7, so I mean, he's in a hurry to get back to the front. He is fast.
100%.
And right now he's back mired in the field, so it's understandable it can happen. Just you got to be a little bit more careful when you're racing against cars a little bit slower than you've been all day.
He's got to take a page out of the JP Bergeron playbook. We watch that guy every single week. I mean, how many times has JP Bergeron run the B main, Jeff? It's been a few, or he hasn't qualified well. And every single week he drives to the front, and we talk to him every single week. It feels like we're always interviewing JP Bergeron. So that's what Mason Johnson, those guys that were running out front, Mark Keteman and Hunter Harriet, that's what they need to do right now, is just do what JP Bergeron does. Just slowly make your way through the field, be methodical about it. Don't get in a ton of trouble. You can see the 18 car doesn't look perfect, but obviously it's pretty fast as he's running third.
Well, here we go. Back to a double file restart here. Lap 91 restart. Blake Thronberg, Bladen Edwards, JP Bergeron, Cody Bohm, the 8 of Braxton Deweese, AJ Rogers. He's going to head off the racetrack. Thronberg got control of this restart. He is off and away in the 22 machine. Edwards got a nice run on the outside. Can he make something happen up there on the top side?
Side-by-side racing all the way through the field. Bladen Edwards got way up the racetrack in that 72 car. I thought we might see a 3-wide moment. As now he's going to use that to try to shoot the car underneath Thronberg, and he does. He's going to try to make that move, but can't make it happen down the back straightaway. Right behind them, John Philippe Bergeron, Cody Bohm, Braxton Deweese, and AJ Rogers. They're waging a war against each other as they battle for third.
Cody Bohm having another fantastic run. This guy kind of came out of nowhere in the Challenger Series and has been a top 5 guy almost every single week we see him. He is doing it again, makes the move around the outside of JP Bergeron to take third.
Braxton Deweese on the bottom, gets a little loose off of turn number 4. He's looking to the inside of AJ Rogers, or the AJ Rogers looking to the outside of Braxton Deweese as they're going to continue to battle. I think they've been side by side since the restart, Jeff. They haven't been able to settle this, so good racing here for 5th.
A great battle for 5th as the caution's going to wave. Trouble in the back straight. Chase Johnson and Keatman again collected. Negus involved. The 12 of William Griffith got collected.
And that's going to end Keteman's night as that car is blown up. I think this started in front of them, though, Jeff. It might be... Take a look here. They were 3 wide. William Griffith looked to the inside of Chad Miller down the back straightaway and then immediately decided 3 wide's a bad idea and stomped the brakes. It was Chad Miller that was basically up against the wall. And I mean, they just stacked up. I think Chad Miller just gets a ton of the wall through turns 3 and 4. Actually, make it's off of 2 here. Just way up the racetrack, gets the wall off of 2, and then just stacks the field. And you can see William Griffith decides, I can't go in the middle here. He's closed the door. And then just gets completely turned around by Tony Quadros, who, I don't know if Tony Quadros knew that was coming.
Yeah, just when he made that move, I mean, it's the right move to back out of the 3 wide, but
there's no way for Tony to see that that's going to happen. I mean, that's tough. And then Tony Quadros, I mean, they all just stack up. Big wreck. Lottridge is around in the 03. Chase Johnson's in it. Mark Keteman, I'm pretty sure that ends his night in the 2. He ended up nosing pretty much head on into the outside wall. Yeah, he got hit by Mason Johnson.
That's a tough wreck for Keteman. It was running in the top 5, got collected early on in that wreck with Mason Johnson, goes to the back and then gets collected again. Keteman's fantastic run of races has kind of come to an end. He had a win and a 2nd place and laps, trying to keep that streak going. Unfortunately, going to end here on lap 99 of this one at South Boston.
And that's how quickly it happens, everyone. Take a look at Mason Johnson's in-car. You just saw it.
Cole
He's the last car in.
Cole Cabry in the Facebook chat, and Cole can tell us a little something about getting collected in wrecks and how fast it happens here at South Boston. He was in his fair share last night.
So you just saw Mason, unfortunately for Cole, that's true. You just saw Mason Johnson. He could not see that wreck whatsoever. Cars had wrecked all over the place in front of him. He never saw it, just saw the rear end of the car in front of him. That was Mark Keteman. Hits the Keteman car, pushes him to the outside wall. And then the C's parted, Jeff. That was a pretty exciting replay there.
Well, here we go. Lap 100 restart for Blake Thronberg as we did not complete 5 laps, so single file here with 25 to go.
Braxton DeWeese shot out of a cannon on that restart. Got to the inside of JP Bergeron as they went into turn number 1. Just did a really good job getting up through the gears. He's going to battle with him down the front straightaway.
I had to go back and check it. It looked clean. Didn't look like he was alongside the 18 at the start-finish line. Just a great move to have the run at the bottom into turn 1. JP had to concede it, but that's allowing the top 3 to drive away from them as they battle hard for this 4th spot. Cody Boehm trying to get underneath Bladen Edwards. Might have a nose on him. Bladen going to shut the door. AJ Rogers back there behind this battle with Braxton DeWeese and JP Bergeron. Bergeron in the wall. Trouble for your points leader.
His car just got tight coming off of turn number 2. You see him wheeling the car in there. You see he's got those yellow gloves on.
And Boehm is there on the inside of Edwards. He got sideways again, but Edwards has moved to the top side, gets a huge run, clears Boehm once again. So that top side is starting to come in late.
AJ Ryder still to the inside of JP Bergeron. Bergeron now I think going to clear him. Lee Norton's right there. They're all checked up on the bottom. Beating and banging Ricky Howes there as well. I think that's Hunter Harriet making his way forward, Jeff. He's all the way back up to 10th.
Bladen Edwards sideways again, trying to control that car as Cody Boehm goes by. There goes Braxton DeWeese for 3rd. Braxton DeWeese fan club and YouTube has got to be going nuts because the 8 car is flying through the field. Negus around again.
Negus issues in turn 3 in the 39. This has been a night to forget for Scott Negus. We talked about how he wanted to get into the A main. This is not how he wanted his A main to end or go at all.
Yeah, he got hooked together with a 3 at David Hill. I think if we could get that Steiner Motorsports chopper cam, might give us a good look at this one, because this is going to be one. Did the 39 come up? Did the 3 come down? What happened here?
A little bit of both. I think that's my assessment. 3 off the wall. He's got almost the left side tires on that. I mean, it's just a little bit of both.
Did it almost look like a little bit of netcode too? Like he'd started to turn the 39 before the 3 ever got there?
Yeah, it's because I think the 3's coming off the wall. I think he got a little closer to the wall as they came off the corner. I think he starts to back off the wall, which I think made iRacing think he was coming even farther down. Just got to give each other a little bit more room than that. That won't happen. So working lap 110 here under caution.
Drivers begging for a double file restart, but they only completed 4 laps. So it is going to be a single file restart here.
Welcome to the new rules, boys.
They were like, come on, that was 5. JP Bergeron was like 101, 102, 103, 104. I think we did 5.
I got an idea. If you want a double file restart, don't run into each other within 5 laps.
Easier said than done, Bill, as we get set to go back to Green Flag Racing lap 111 restart here as Pace Car heading off the racetrack. And Cody Boehm didn't get going, and that's going to hold everybody up as Braxton DeWeese was having to push the 78 forward. That is allowing Throberg to just open up his lead late here. Bladen Edwards going to try to look underneath Braxton DeWeese. Just that car is just so ill-handling. I just don't think he's going to have much for the 8. As JP Bergeron now is right on the heels of the 72.
I was a little concerned that 72 now he's going to get bumped from JP Bergeron, and that's going to cause a lot of people to go. Bladen Edwards' car is basically junk. It just does not get through the corner.
And your points leader ends up spinning onto Pear Road. Oh, man. And this collected a lot of cars. Kieran Church involved, David Hill. Negus involved again.
I actually wondered if well, I mean, that's just really tight racing there. It's tough to see from that angle. But he is just, yeah, you can see it, Jeff. That car is just so sideways in the 72 of Bladen Edwards. I wondered if there was a possibility that right rear was flat. That right rear has actually gone away. Because that car just slides into the corner and everybody has to check up for him because he's just not getting through 1 and 2. And when JP Bergeron did that, everybody piled in. I mean, we caught out a lot of race cars. I think AJ Rogers gets spun around and his car backs up across the racetrack. I know what his team's going to say, Jeff.
What's that?
Lock it down!
Yeah.
They were yelling at somebody last night. You can see that catches out a lot of cars. I think Jason Lottridge was involved in this as well. We'll see he's way back in the field, and you can see his car's way up in the air as he gets flipped up. Just a whole bunch of cars spun around and wrecked on that race car. And that incident, and you can see JP Bergeron down at the bottom of your screen. The nose was gone from the 18 machine, so I believe he'll be done for the evening.
Yeah, JP Bergeron has parked it, called it a night, so tough break for your points leader. Not a way to end it. I mean, we looked at it, it looked like the 72 was loose, but the 18 just kind of got in the back of him, made it even worse. I mean, that's tough.
Yeah. This one started so great. Cars became a little bit ill-handling, and we've had some issues since then.
I believe we're going to see the pace car lights go out this time, single file, because they did not complete a lap, or they did complete 1 lap, but not 5 laps. Well, Bill, this is kind of gone the same way that a couple of races gone this season, which is huge green flag runs to start, and then everybody is just fighting for every inch of the racetrack right now, and they're starting to tear some stuff up as we get set to go back to green flag racing with Blake Roberg, Cody Boehm, Braxton DeWeese, Bladen Edwards, Reagan Parent, your top 5.
Bladen Edwards took a look to the inside of Braxton DeWeese going into turn number 1. Wasn't able to make the move. He backed off. Hunter Harriet and Ricky Howell, they're going to be side by side down into turns 3 and 4. Harriet making his way back forward. He's back up to 8th in the 81 car.
And we are 6 to go for Blake Throberg out front by Cody Boehm trying to get there. Boehm was pushing it last time by, almost got the wall off turn 4, so he is throwing everything he's got at it, but Throberg starting to drive away. Reagan Parent to the inside of the 72 as he is sideways once again. Here comes Lee Norton, going to take advantage. Bladen Edwards' stuff is used up, and he is just holding on for dear life.
Yeah, that right rear is gone on the 72 car. He was pushing it hard earlier in this race, and we had a longer green flag run than we expected. And that car's spinning out on its own, Jeff. That car's, and they're going to stay green flag. Chase Johnson, he's spun to the inside.
There goes Mason Johnson. Mason Johnson back into the top 10 as he goes around Bladen Edwards. AJ Rogers is going to get together with Mason Johnson. Bladen's still sideways behind them. Mason's sideways. It's like somebody oiled down the racetrack. They're so loose, but no trouble at all for Blake Throberg out front driving away. Going to see 2 to go this time.
Braxton DeWeese looking underneath. Cody Boehm for the 2nd spot. DeWeese trying to take that spot away. The 8 car obviously has a little bit more tire than the 78 at the moment. And he's going to be side by side through 3 and 4.
White flag is out for Blake Thronberg. Braxton DeWeese getting around Cody Bohm for the second spot. Here comes Reagan Parent, who sits third in points. He wants one more spot as Cody Bohm is up the racetrack. Down the back straightaway, nobody's even near Blake Thronberg. An off turn for Thronberg, gonna win the Toyota Volkswagen of Wooster 125. His first win at ITZR in the County Road Custom Late Model Challenger Series. Braxton DeWeese comes home second, Reagan Parent third, Cody Bohm fourth, Lee Norton with the top 5.
And I think we ended up with the car upside down, Jeff, on the back straightaway. I'm not sure who that was, but it might have been David Hill. But Blake Thronberg, great run from the 22 car.
Well, Hunter Harriet going to come home 6th. Ricky House started to the rear of the field, finished his 7th. Tony Quadros, another guy who came from the rear of the field tonight to finish 8th. AJ Rogers 9th. And I think looking at it, Braxton DeWeese probably going to pick up the Adobe Mountain Speedway hard charger. Maybe William Griffith, who started 26th, went to 11th tonight. Great run for William. Brad Carpenter, 21st to 12th. Scott Negus, everything that Scott Negus went through tonight, Bill, he gets a 13th place finish from 25th starting spot.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. He was involved in so many cautions, picks up a 13th. Great run from the 39 car coming out of the B main.
Jason Lottridge finishes 14th. Bladen Edwards 15th, the last car on the lead lap. His night just came unraveled there at the end. The tires were gone on the 72. David Hill 16th. Chase Johnson, Travis Roma, JP Bergeron finishes 19th. Kieran Church, tough break for Kieran. Again, it was running in the top 5, it seems like every single night, and then ends up getting killed in something. Finishes 20th. Chad Miller 21st. Mark Keatman 22nd. Jacob Derrick, JJ Chansey, Dylan Schreiner, Peter Fisher, your 26 starters tonight. Well, Bill, we're going to be joined by our race winner in the broadcast booth and a first-time ITZR winner for Blake Thronberg. And Blake, you came into the series, we weren't sure who you were, and then all of a sudden I've been seeing you in the strength of field races. I've been seeing you running well in league races. Where did you come from, and who's helped you get this fast so quickly?
Man, the guys at EPI and especially the guys at the shop, just watching them, learning from them, just picking their brain.
Well,
I gotta give all the credit to them.
Talk about tonight, Blake. What was the strategy coming into tonight, and what were you thinking as the race went on, as we got that really long green flag run to start?
Yeah, well, I knew them guys were pushing it pretty hard, and I know if I could keep the right rear up under it, I would, in the long run, I would be okay. And once I seen, I think it was Mason and Bladen start getting sideways coming out the corners, I knew right then that it was just a matter of time, and I just held on, man. Just kind of ran my pace. I had an idea what I wanted to run, and it played out.
Well, we saw some really good racing. It seemed like the top side started to come in there for a bit. How much fun was it to race on this racetrack, especially when we had the green flag run like we did? It seemed like every lane was working. You guys were having just absolute duels out there.
Yeah, the top was pretty OP on the restarts. I was kind of worried when we went back to double file and Bladen was out there on the top, because I know for probably the first 5 laps of a run that if he could get around me, it was going to be then or anybody. So kind of that single file played in my favor tonight. And yeah, man, that was probably the best race, not just because I won, but just I think it was the longest green flag run we had all year in the Challenger Series. So, man, yeah, that was a blast. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that was really fun to watch. So what does it feel like, Blake, coming into the series? I mean, I know that you've got buddies that have told you, man, it's hard to win over there at ITZR. What does it feel like to pick up an ITZR win here on Tuesday night in the Challenger Series?
Oh, man, it's awesome. Picked up a SAR Contender Series earlier in the year, and that kind of gave me the confidence that, hey, I can run with these guys that's been on here for a couple of years, and they're really good that know how to save and know how to drive and when to push and when to not. And then to top this off, this just checks off another, I guess you would say a bucket list on here. Being on iRacing, for 4 months, this is pretty cool. But like I said, I couldn't do it without EPI or any of the guys at the shop.
Jeff, Blake just took all the wind out of all of my sails ever.
Well, it's funny because I think we had mentioned it a while back that when we do our points and our scoring and stuff, we see the account numbers for iRacing, and that's how we kind of recognize who's who. And you have the highest number, which means you're the newest guy in the league. And I've been saying that for a while, but what brought you to iRacing? What brought you into the fold here?
Actually, you guys, man, I can hear my wife saying now, "You're watching them guys race on your phone again?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am, baby." I said, "This is pretty cool because I'm a big short track guy around my hometown, and I just kept watching it. And like I said, I played Heat for years, and I was like, man, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and invest in racing and just see how it is. And like I said, it was the real eye opener when I think I ran in y'all's icebreaker this year for my first time. That was like my first ever big race with, I guess, big name guys. And man, it was humbling. I was like, man, it's not as easy as they make it look. And ever since then, it's just been, I guess it's just the drive to figure out these cars. And as so far, I'm doing pretty good. I mean, still got a lot to learn. And like I said, I listen to guys that you see win in the top series all the time and watch their races and join their discords and just learn from them, man. That's about as all I can do.
Wow, honestly, that's a fantastic story, man, and it really. I think I need you to send an email to iRacing to let them know that we were the ones that brought you. But
Yeah, we like our
that's
commission.
That's right. It's amazing. I
Yeah.
love hearing that story. And man, what a great. I mean, obviously you ran the icebreaker and the improvement over from then till now. I mean, you're here winning Challenger races, Contender Series races over at Sarah. Fantastic. So we see you've got Elite Performance Industries on the side of the race car. Who do you want to give a shout out to tonight? Obviously, that's the presenting sponsor of our Late Model Shootout series. So I'm sure that they're going to be part of that list. But go ahead and shout out anybody that's gotten you to the point that you picked up this much speed.
Okay, Tyler, like you said over there at API, Trevor, Barbecue, Aaron, Jinx, all the guys over at the shop, all of them. But the main important is my wife. She lets me get over here and run this crap that I used to watch on my phone every night, or when y'all used to run the thing. So first and foremost, her, the man upstairs, and you guys for putting on a good show. I like the rule changes and stuff that y'all did to kind of clean it up a little bit. And that's about it. That's all I got. I appreciate y'all.
All right, Blake. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us. Congratulations, first win at ITZR. That's pretty awesome. You got to feel pretty good right now.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna need y'all to put my car on all the posts from here on out.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You were the showcase car this week in the pre-race stuff. That's awesome.
No, I'm just kidding. Thank y'all guys. Y'all have a good evening. Appreciate it. See y'all next week.
All right, thank you, Blake. Good job tonight.
Take care, buddy.
Thank you.
Jeff, I love when you predict the future. It's not the
Right?
first time. It's not the first
Yeah.
time.
Well, joining us now, Braxton DeWeese, our second place finisher. Braxton, you had to do it the hard way. You came from deep in the field tonight, and I think the YouTube chat was going nuts for you. You brought out the fan club, and what was it like going through all of that? I mean, that was a lot of cars you had to pass tonight.
Yeah, I was just trying to make sure I got lucky with how the cautions fell and what position I was in and how many laps we had done after the green with the single file and double file and whatnot. And I got lucky with a couple of them at the end, but coming through there, I was just, I was trying to be quick, but not burn the stuff off. I was trying to, use the right rear, a lot more. I don't really use the right rear as much as I should. So, you know what, I said, let's use it a little bit more and see what happens. I was a little loose, but at the end, I kind of figured out a good way to manage it and whatnot, like throughout the 3/4 mark of the race, I want to say. And then from there, it kind of just felt pretty good. I was picking them off here, like with the restarts. I know I got JP or someone, or I think it was AJ when I was on the high side, and that was pretty big. That put me to 5th. So the little things like that, just trying to perfect them going up through the field is honestly a really big deal, to me, to try to perfect, and just not even to perfect, but to get better at and try to, get smooth and consistent with that to, stay up there and get the points that I need to get. Because this was a really good points night for me with my best finish in the league being 2nd. So, we need more of this. I need to qualify a little bit better. But, this is good momentum. So we just got to keep it up.
Yeah, you say you don't. And I, by the way, Braxton, I can confirm that YouTube was the chat was losing its mind while you were driving through the field. It was fun to watch. I've been sitting in it all night long, so that's pretty awesome. But they were very excited. A lot of woohoos. But coming through the field, Braxton, you said you don't use up the right rear very much, which actually probably benefited you tonight, right? So we saw some cars, especially Bladen Edwards. That car was, I mean, he had no right rear left on the car. When you're coming through the field, can you start to see that some of these cars are struggling? Are you watching them get sideways off the corners when you still have some traction, you're still getting forward?
There at the end, you definitely could, because yeah, like you said, Bladen was getting loose. I saw him getting loose, and I was like, all right, I know that he's got that right rear a little hot, so we got to take advantage of this because that'd put me to third if I passed him. So, um, I feel like more towards the middle, towards the end of the race, when it starts like getting closer to the end, you're gonna realize more of what people have and what they have done to their tires throughout the first half of the race. But cautions kind of make it a little difficult as well because of the heat cycles and just not having the long runs to see how much they were pushing in the tire wear and whatnot. But definitely there at the end, you can kind of tell that Bladen was getting a little loose. I saw that the guy in front of me, Boehm, I believe. I don't know if that's how you say it. I'm just kind of winging it, but he was getting a little loose there, and I kind of took advantage of that. And glad I did there. But I'm just really happy with this finish, and glad everybody in the chat was having a good time with it. It's always nice to have a good race and the people that support you and watch you, all the time, because I race all the time, have a good run and make it entertaining for them. So um, I just want to say a big thanks to all of them for tuning in day in and day out.
Yeah, they are a big fan. I do have a second part to that question, Braxton. Sorry, Jeff, to jump in front of you
No, you're
here.
good. You're
When
good.
you see these, I wanted to ask you, when you see the cars do start to give up, does that make you a little bit more aggressive, or are you still kind of racing big picture where you're still being a little bit careful, or do you see that car starting to get in trouble and you pounce?
It really makes me try to be like, okay, let's be consistent, and let's run the line we need to run. Let's not be too hard on, let's just do what we've been doing if we've been catching them, and do what we need to do what we're supposed to do there. So just try not to eat them up. I don't. I've early on when I started racing, I would get excited. I'm like, oh, I got an opportunity here. I need to go quicker. But once I've started racing more, you realize that just you're just gonna heat your right rear up or your right front up, depending on how you're driving it, and it's not really going to help you out. So for me, I just want to be, as consistent as I can and run the line I need to, and just try to get to his rear bumper and then go from there. Because catching them is one thing, and then passing them is another.
Well, Braxton, I'm looking at the point standings. You came into the night ninth in the standings. You were only 2 points back, but Thronberg was ahead of you. He wins the race. But a lot of the guys in the top 7, they had bad nights tonight. And does this give you a little bit of confidence now that, you know what, I'm not out of this championship chance yet? Like, I can still make the top 8. I can still make the final 4.
Yeah, for sure. I can't always bank on them getting wrecked and going out like that, but it gives you momentum and the confidence to be like, okay, we have a little bit more of a shot, like you just said. So, let's do a little bit more practice. Let's try to look at a couple more things and study, a little bit more, just as get that extra tenth or whatnot that you can get in qualifying that I need to have a better starting position, so I don't have to go through the field or something like that. Just the little thing. So. Um, looking forward to next week, and hopefully we can do it again.
Well, Braxton, before we let you go, you already gave a big shout out to the YouTube chat, and we just got one from Alan's Art Images that just said sweet, so he's happy too. But who else do you want to give a shout out to tonight that helps you get find speed in this late model stock? Who do you want to thank?
Definitely Interstate Ford there with the Ford Mustang, looking aggressive. I really love how the Ford Mustang looks. I've usually been a Chevy guy while racing and whatnot, but it's all right to change it up once in a while, and having Interstate Ford on the car, it makes it that much better. And I'm glad I could have a good run with them on the car. The first race I didn't have them on the car at North Wilkesboro when I got a third, so I'm glad I could get an interview with them and give them a big shout out and a thanks, because they really helped me out, and I want to do the same and help them out as well. So big shout out to Interstate Ford and all of them over there. I want to give a shout out to Reaper Speed Lab, Martin Sports, Unrivaled Cinematography, Short Track Report, Blaze Designs, Scrub and Tires Podcast, the Premier Group, Alan's Arts Images. Obviously, he's always in the chat, like you just said. He was saying sweet, so I'll say sweet right back at you right now. So glad you could tune in and whatnot. But big points night. I've been saying that, but I'm really happy with what we did and how we performed. And big shout out to all the sponsors and everybody that tunes in. We need to keep this up because y'all deserve it. And I love being up here in the front. I mean, who doesn't? So y'all have a good one. I appreciate it.
All right, Braxton, thanks so much for stopping by to talk with us. Congratulations on a great run tonight, and we'll see you next week as we head to Five Flag Speedway.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one.
Well, now our third place finisher going to join us, Reagan Parent. And Reagan, I had told you if you went quick time tonight, we would have an interview with you. You missed it by 1 thou, and then you started at the rear of the field tonight due to a penalty. You still made it into the broadcast booth. That was a heck of a run, man.
Yeah, it was eventful to say the least. Just missed it by that little bit in qualifying. I was kind of pissed. I only did the one lap because the first one was better for me. But yeah, starting last, my initial plan was just to ride around in the back and try to save as much as I could. And I was saving, and then eventually the leaders became within 2 seconds of me. I was like, I gotta go. So the saving kind of went out the door there. Then we could get a yellow, and then I was like, okay, it's time to start picking them off. And one by one, I don't want to say we really passed people. They were just wrecking out of my way, if that makes sense. But eventually work our way up there and ended up third.
So you talk about you went into extreme saving mode, Reagan. That's what we like to call that when you fall away from the field and just kind of keep the tires underneath you until you see a caution flag. Obviously, you said that went out the window when the leader started to catch you, but we were watching the lap times and they were pushing the pace way more than the cars were last night. And then they got a long green flag run, which might have kind of thrown their plans out the window. Were you at the end of the race? Did you feel like you had a lot more tire than the cars around you as you were able to make some moves there towards the end? Did the extreme saving actually work for you?
Oh, sure, 100%. I Every single car that I passed, I felt I could just drive off the corner a lot better than they could get a better run. Like I knew I was better than Ada DeWeese ahead of me. I don't know about the 22. He was fast. He was fast all day. So I think he would have gave a really good race, but I think I had enough tire to get up there for sure. Just needed a few more yellows to be like double file restart instead of single file, and I feel like I could have got a few more cars and got there a little bit faster.
Well, Reagan, we were just talking to Braxton about points racing because we're getting to that stage of the race. We've only got 2 more races before we head into the playoffs for the top 8. You're sitting third coming into tonight, but the 2 guys ahead of you, they did not have great races tonight, so they're going to end up losing a lot of points. You might come out of here maybe the points leader, maybe even closer to JP Bergeron than you started tonight. Does that give you a lot of confidence about your chances of making the final 4 later this season and racing for a championship?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's always good to go in being the points leader. I'm sure you get bonus points and whatnot for like being ahead and everything else that you can. Like even just qualifying up front, qualifying second, even though I had to start last, just the bonus points from that help you get that little bit further ahead come the end of the season.
So I think that means he has a good outlook for
Yeah.
the playoffs, Jeff. That was a summarization of what Reagan just gave us there.
Yeah.
But Reagan,
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good.
yeah, you feel pretty good. Yeah, I think he's got a pretty good shot of making the playoffs. So with that being said, what are the thoughts going into the last couple races of the season before we hit that playoff run? Are you going to try to build more confidence, or is it more of a just try to save it and figure out if you can make sure that you make that playoff 8?
Yeah, I mean the confidence is definitely there. I ain't scared, I can tell you that. But I think for the next few races, it's pretty much just settle back and ride and make it to the end. I mean, I gotta have a few clean races here, so I don't have any more EOLs or anything come playoff time. So pretty much just ride it out till then. I mean, obviously all you have to do is ride and the finishes come. I mean, that's all I did today, and look at where we ended up.
Well, Reagan, before we let you get out of here, is there anybody you want to thank? Anybody you want to shout out that might be watching on the stream tonight?
Yeah, of course. Jackson, who wasn't here today, he normally comes and watches and helps me out, coaches me along. He had his internet cut off, so he wasn't able to race yesterday. Everybody at RKM Setup Shop, Black Flag Podcast, Preston DeMello for making the paint. You guys, ITZR, everybody here, the race sponsor today, Toyota Volkswagen of Wooster, not Mass, somewhere out in like Ohio or something like that. But yep.
Somebody's listening to the broadcast, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Reagan, thanks so much for talking with us, and we're glad you made it in the booth eventually. It took you a little bit. You had to run the whole main event first, but you did finally make it into the booth to talk with us tonight.
Yeah, glad to be here. Hopefully this isn't the last time this year.
All right. Well, we'll see you hopefully next week. The LFOD Motorsports 125 from Five Flags Speedway, and that'll be on April, or was that May 21st and 22nd? You should be there for both races, Monday and Tuesday night.
That is the plan, yes.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Well, Bill, that is going to be a wrap for us tonight. I mean, that might have been one of the best Challenger races we've seen all season. There was just absolute brawling all over the racetrack. Yeah, we had some cautions here and there, but I mean, they were coming at the expense of, I mean, absolute hard racing, good clean racing too. And that was probably one of the best races I've watched all season long.
Yeah, that's the second week in a row that the late model Challenger Series puts on a better race than the Shootout Series. So kudos to those guys, just doing the thing and doing a great job racing and putting on a show for. I mean, we have a lot of people that watch these races. There are 12, 14 people there on YouTube, Jeff. I know you had a bunch over there on Facebook, and
Yeah.
this is broadcasted on Elite Performance Industries Facebook page, our Twitch, our homepage. I mean, it's all over the place. So a lot of people watch these races, and those guys putting on a show tonight is good for everyone, themselves and us. And we had fun, man. That was a good race.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're done for the week because Sarah off week. They're not returning until May 25th, and that is Richmond for the Cottle Captures 100, where we'll be live again next Thursday, not this Thursday, next Thursday. So we get to take a little bit of break for the rest of the week, watch some racing ourselves, and we hope you enjoy some racing at North Wilkesboro. This week should be a fun week of racing. I bet a lot of us are going to be in the Discord hanging out talking about the races this week. So if you want to join ITZR's Discord and goof around with the guys, you can always do that. Make sure you're following us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, because we will be live next Monday night and Tuesday night, May 22nd and 23rd for the Five Flags 125s, the LFOD Motorsports 125s from Five Flags. That is a big, fast racetrack, and I'm interested to see how this car is going to run there. We haven't seen anybody run Five Flags yet. I know Sarah did a practice race there, and I heard good things about it. So I'm excited for that racetrack to see how this new late model stock runs on a traditional super late model racetrack.
Yeah, that's going to be a really, really fast racetrack for a late model stock. I don't think they even run there in real life. I think that's just a super late racetrack, like you said. So it's going to be fun, man. I think that's going to be tire saving territory is what we're going to find down there at Five Flags. And that makes for a fun race because you're just going to see the strategy play out just as it did somewhat tonight, as you saw guys like Bladen Edwards, who expected a yellow, I'm sure, and ended his race basically with a bad right rear. I think you're going to see more of that next week. So that should be pretty fun, man. 2 nights in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be back next week with 3 nights of racing. And thank you to everybody that hung out on Facebook. All the people on YouTube that we don't ever get a shout out very much. Thank you guys for watching. Glad that your guy had a good run tonight. We will be back next week, Monday and Tuesday night. Make sure you're with us on Facebook, on YouTube, live on Twitch, 9 p.m. Eastern, both nights. We'll see you there.